Hey everybody, it's your friend Godfather here. And if you ever wanted to be a good whale in Foundry, or you wanted to counter a whale in Foundry, this is the video for you. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. I had this as a request. A lot of people liked the videos that I did previously on Foundry and Canyon on the playstyle that I partake in. I'm a pretty hefty sized account. I've got a lot of things maxed out, still some things to work on, but neither here nor there. Wanted to give you my perspective on Foundry as a whole. So right from the gate, fully buffed, right? My job in Foundry is going to be apply pressure on the enemy and whittle their troops down as much as possible. So that way my medium and smaller sized players don't have as much threat from all of the enemies that we have on the map. So we look at the Alliance. If we know anything about them, their play styles, who they have, whether they have a whale or they do not. If you saw from the very beginning on the intro, there was very equal in power and attendance, right? Attendance is going to vary. You're going to have a lot of people sign up and some people may not be able to make it. Life happens. So you have to be ready for the unexpected. Same thing happens to the other Alliance. They can't guarantee who's going to show up. So the battle may change throughout the 1 hour of Foundry. It's very important to get started, know who you're playing with, who are your teammates, assign those buildings, buy up any of the healing passes that you may need. I'm going to be killing a lot of my troops as I'm trying to take out other players. So I like to have a healthy dose of that and save my gems for anything else. So this Alliance ANT is not very strong out of the gate from what we can tell. So I'm going to be going with an attacking formation. So I set up my heroes. Take who you want to go to battle, put the right gear on them, and then if you have a preferred defensive lineup that you want to keep them at home, put your second best gear on those and pin those in your wall. I haven't seen too many people do that. I've seen a lot of whales get burnt out there just because they're sending out 6 marches and then they get jumped by 2 or 3 big players. Try to avoid that. Either go with reinforcements if you're not that hefty and make sure that you've got your defensive garrison set up. All right. So in the very beginning of a strategy for Foundry, you've got to decide on who's going where. And when I start out, always to the transit station. So if we ever up against me, you can almost count on me being there, so you could probably counter that now. And I will blindly attack everybody that I see, even if I'm going to lose, right? Just so I know who I'm up against and how they're playing. Smart alliances that want to counter a whale, if they're, wearing their big shiny globe and they're all big old tough guy, they're going to make sure that they're reinforcing each other right out of the gate. So these players would go out reinforced. They were not, and I can see from here that I'm knocking out 2/3 of their troops in one hit. They're essentially going to be zeroed and gone out of oblivion. I don't hit them all. I hit 3, so that way it's a little bit more manageable, and making sure that, as you can see there, that other player just left on its own because he didn't want to get burned. That's one less person that we have to fight. Now I'm going to burn this guy down, once again, blind, because now I know that they're not reinforcing each other, and I'm kind of taking a look at how many troops are they losing, how many more do they have, so I'm not just throwing marches at them for the sake of throwing marches. Like, this player has 2,000. They're not going to be able to do much more. Now I'll go ahead and take the building. And this button is not very convenient. I do this all the time in Foundry. You could talk to my team at how many times I'm cursing at the screen because I'm trying to speed up, and then I am hitting that city. On this particular one, I actually wanted to go to the city to make sure that I was signed up for the ministry buff and get that lethality in sequence. So remember, that actually applies, and it's a big help. So now that we've got the transit station locked out, most everybody on the map is okay. I'm paying attention to what's going on in the communications where people are linking different folks or they're requesting for help, but you got to be mindful of what's going on in your team, right? It's a team effort. You've got 28 people there. Not one person can knock them all out. So checking it all out here. And yeah, I've got 434,000 hurt. I didn't lose anything, but because I'm attacking blindly and taking people from 300, 400, 500 million, power, whatever troop that's supposed to be. Maybe it's like 600,000 troops or a little bit more or less or whatnot. I'm going to lose some troops in the process, so I'm just going to go heal. It's quite all right. It's part of the game. So looking at their biggest player, this is the FC8, and just whittling him down, right? If you saw it previously, Escape had marked him, right? This is the building that he was responsible for or that he's seen that needs some help. And now this is where we go to attack. Once again, they're not reinforcing each other. So if they're attacking our players or they're attacking a building or they're garrisoned in a building, that's already anywhere between 150 to 200 plus thousand troops that they're not going to have in their garrison. And I think another buddy of mine from 1123, I think it is, from DTS, told me the same thing. It's like the reason that you go to a billion plus power is nothing other than Foundry, right? Your troops are your bullets in Foundry, and if you have umpteen million, gazillion, billion troops, you don't even have to heal. You could just continue playing throughout. I don't have that luxury. We're trying to stay lean as best as possible in 1166. So, do as the Romans. So the attacks here, you saw some folks looting. It's the most important thing when you're taking a building. I'm communicating to my team when I'm going to take that building so they can have their marches back and they can loot anything that's on the outskirts. So here we should see it now. And that's it. Popped out. Scan it. Loot, loot, loot. If you don't have people assigned to looting, make sure that you're porting in there and grabbing those points. It doesn't make sense to just let the other team keep those if you're going through all that effort. So once again, we've got some more folks. They like to group up in 3, but they're still not really reinforcing each other well. So I'm not even checking. The way that you would check if you've got a team that's really countering a whale by reinforcing each other, which is what they should be doing, you launch a rally, make it a 5-minute rally or whatnot, and check the rally stats. Even if they have counter running, you can see right through it and know exactly who you're dealing against. Right, so these guys are all gone. Just 100% burnt out. The majority of the map is blue. We are most likely going to win this one unless, whatever, they don't have it. All right, so they've got a full garrison in here, right? I'm going to throw my troop. I thought I was going to lose this, right? If they have the appropriate heroes like Patrick, One Wallace, or Philly, or some combination of defensive, and they have the right formation in there, I would have expected to bounce back. But because they're nowhere around, right? You only got one base that is essentially zeroed out. I'm going to bounce against that facility or against that building, but I'm going to check the report to see by how much. So if I lose and I lose 75k, but they lost 125k, right? Or I lose 100k and they lost 75, that is really close. I will just go ahead and continue to chop down that tree with individual marches because it's far less expensive for me to heal those than it is for me to call a rally, a 1-minute rally, and speed everybody in, especially since I'm bouncing around largely by myself. All right, so this one was a defeat, and we'll check it out, right? So I lost 3 times against this guy. He's got 2.3 million troops. I lost 104k. He lost 324k. And that number is just going to get smaller and smaller until I essentially burn him, right? There is no threat. He's fluffy. He's got a bunch of troops in there. If he was rained, he took him with him, right? No big deal. Heal through, and he's done. That big player that was posing a threat to my team is now gone. And we can start seeing some of their players, not even their smaller players. I mean, there's some FC6s in here, some 5s, some of the people that I've burnt that are now in the safe zone, either recovering, launching far distances, but gives us plenty of time to kind of recuperate, regather, reassess how many rains we have in each one of our buildings, and then fortifying all those areas that are not. The opposing team is likely calling out that this guy that they can't spell the name, because I like spelling my name kind of funny on there. It's kind of an IQ test. They're calling it out that this guy's burning them, right? I've got an inconspicuous skin on. I'm not flaunting that I've got a globe skin. I'm not saying that I do. I'm not saying that I do. I'm not flaunting anything, but I'm just going around and burning most of them. So they're posing that as a threat. And in some of the more complicated fights, I will actually change my skin. So that way it kind of throws some people off, right? They get accustomed to see the skin coming by. They're not really looking at the name. Maybe they take it a little bit for granted. Now I'm going to attack. When you're in a big group like this, a couple of things are going to happen. Some of the enemy players are going to want to get some points, so they're going to threaten and burn some of your lower bases. But they tend not to speed those up. So if you are next to a buddy, you got to help them out. Reinforce them, speed it in there, and make sure that they withstand. When you attack, you actually lose more troops than when you're defending in most cases, especially if things are comparable. The game favors defense. So as long as you've got a reinforcement, you've got good quality heroes or troop quality, whatever the case is for you, you have a good chance of kind of bouncing off a whale as long as you've got those things. And even if he doesn't bounce, he's going to take more damage than he would have expected, and you start whittling down some of those troops. It's essentially kind of you want to outlast the whale, right? So this match is already pretty easy. We are destroying this other team. We're at 75 going on 76k. They're barely scraping almost 20,000 points here. Most of them are probably taking a timeout. They're going to be sitting out for about 12 minutes in order to automatically regain all their troops and then come back into the fight. All right, so like I said, this is already pretty much done. I'm going to speed up some of the rest of the video. I'll slow it down for you at certain points where it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm going into defensive mode, right? Essentially, I don't even know how many points I have by this round, but the team's essentially locking it down. Most of their players are gone, and they're launching from the safe zone. You've got options. If you want to go around and hunt and pick on the little guys, as they say, by all means, go to it. But with all the events that are happening, I've only got about 1 million gems right now. I'm used to having way more than that. I don't want to be burning things and play it a little bit more conservatively. So I'm going to go defensive mode. You saw me change the gear up front. I changed my default formation. I'm trying a different formation for defense. Not that they likely will be able to do much, but we're just going to be watching and maintaining the buildings. So at this point of the game, or of this match rather, things change a little bit, right? We go from taking to protecting. So I want to make sure with my team, and what I'm communicating to them is that I'm going to hold some of the smaller buildings that have big points, things that are not as critical, and I'm asking my team to reinforce the bigger point buildings, right? Have more people in there. We've got 22 folks in attendance. They have 13. I haven't seen a whale pop up here, and I can pretty much rest assured that this is a done deal for us, that they're essentially done for. So let the team go out and attack and get that experience. If you are the whale in your alliance, or you're one of the whales in your alliance, and you've got a deadlocked, easy win, the worst thing that you can do is be that guy that does it all. Let your alliance go to it, right? Let them fight it out. Let them figure things out. Take the defensive position. Rain all these buildings. Hang out in the middle. Ask for reinforcements. Do things that encourages them to continue to participate and feel valued. At the end of the day, it's a game, right? It's a game with real people that have real feelings. And if they feel like they are not contributing anything, why would they continue to play? Maybe they like riding on your coattails, and that's okay. But for the most part, especially those in Bug, my alliance, every member contributes. So I like to keep it that way. So I just said that, and then I'm gonna pick on somebody, right? So I picked on this individual because he had that 2.3 million troops before, and I bounced off of him. So I just wanted to test him out again, soften him up for the rest of the guys to go at it. Right. So I went from reinforcing defense to completely messing up on here. If we look at the reports a little bit later on, potentially, some of my heroes don't even have the gear on. I know that sounds embarrassing. It's a mistake. It happens. You're switching gears around. Gear's really expensive to get upgraded. It takes a long time to do it, free to play. And you really don't want to, you don't want to mess up like I did. But, fortunately, 2 of the 3 heroes had gear on. The 3rd one did not. Lesson learned, pay more attention to that in the future. So the team actually tells me, it's like, don't worry about it. Go do your thing. Have some fun. I'm all good. And essentially, I'm just planting myself in front of the enemy base. It's not a taunt. So don't think that we're like I'm here flexing on them. It's actually just to keep an eye on to what they're doing and see if they're going to port out of the safe zone in a group, right? So instead of waiting for them to land at a building, I'm making sure to see when they're leaving to call that out for the rest of the alliance. And when they land someplace like here, they took that building. We ended up looting most of the points back. A lot of them got their troops back as well, right? They're done with that 12-minute healing. We're roughly, 20 minutes into the fight? So we got 25 minutes left. We're about a little bit over halfway through. They've got their troops back. They pose a threat again, so we switch it up again, right? The team is going into defensive mode, I'm going into attack mode, and I'm going to go around and burn everybody. If you've got other people that are of equal size or strong players as well, it makes this a whole lot easier in Bug. Right now, it's only me in this particular Legion that's of this size of a base. I've got a bunch of other strong players as well, but they were in Legion too, so can't really get the benefit for that. So about 11 million points right now, which is pretty good, I would say, for a Foundry. And we are 271,000 points to their 43,000. So that, even if they took all the buildings right now and we looted everything and they didn't have a chance to loot, we'd still win this without any problem. So, funny, right? When you're in Foundry, this is a plug, right? Great opportunity to recruit people. Right? If you see another good player or you lose to another alliance, don't be afraid to reach out to the other team, say hi, and ask them if they would actually be interested in moving. We've landed a lot of great players that we've met through Foundry that were in that mindset, and we were able to, kind of show them a path to coming and joining in our alliance. Also, it builds great relationships, right? If you're destroying somebody and you're being the big bad wolf, burning everyone, saying hi doesn't hurt. So we had some of our buildings that were not as well garrisoned as they should have been, but because we're communicating it correctly, we're able to port in, loot those points, make sure that they don't convert over to the enemy, and then retake it. All right, so you usually want to have at least 1 medium to 2 medium-sized players positioned at a particular building, especially when you're getting over that 1,000 points. And when you're controlling the map like we are, they're going to try to get as many points as they can by porting in and focusing on one building. So that's the case here. Obviously, Lifting Chick that's sitting in this garrison actually has like 7 other people with her in there, and they're not taking that. So porting in by yourself in order to take that building is likely not going to happen. 14 minutes left in the Foundry. Not much of anything else is going to happen. Their entire team just got burnt for a second time. All of our buildings are reinforced. As you can see, it flashed through your screen right now. You can see me checking on the garrison in some of these buildings to make sure that we're okay. They're gathering some. That's quite all right. If you want to be a big bully and knock them out of the gathering, if you've got players that haven't met the minimum required points, then by all means, go knock them out of that gathering. But it's all right if they're going to score something. At the end of the day, you're just looking for that win. We've got 23 players to now they're 11. So they're losing people. They're probably like, I'm done. They don't want to be there anymore. So just kind of chill. Double tap got double tapped. So I'm glad that he reached out. Good game. It was fun. Same thing. Be nice. Be cordial. Be a human. Just remember that there's other people on the other end of that screen that they're taking the loss. When we take a loss, and we have taken plenty of them, same thing, right? We reach out to the other Lions and tell them, good game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, and at the end of the day, is just fun. So here at the last time in the game, I know that they're about to hit their second cycle of healing since they poured it out so early, and I'm telling this guy to go ahead and attack my team. I'm not even going to step in. You all go have fun. Go enjoy yourself. So now the other team gets an opportunity of, going to town and trying to take out some of our folks. Lets them be a little bit more prepared. There we go. I'll port into the middle and I'll let them attack me just for the fun. All right. Well, I guess some people just like to get burnt. 7 minutes left, and I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to the next good part. So after some more messaging with double tap, he takes me serious. He knows that I'm not going to port in there, and they jump into the munitions warehouse and they start attacking our bases. Right. So now everybody's starting to port in. This, for me, is a lot of fun to watch, right? I'm looking to see who's reinforcing who's attacking who's bouncing, why are they bouncing? I've got my lowest level player who doesn't have all full marches garrisoned with a half march, just to give them a fighting chance and let them go at it. The level 5 player, Viper, is not having a good day. He essentially got burnt out. Crash got burnt by this Katamar, whatever, the C guy that I bounced off against in the very beginning, right? And I can see that some of our folks are still bouncing off. Double tap is hitting, and that's the end of the match. Huge win, right? We had 472,000 to their 62,000 points. There was not much that they could do. There isn't much that they could have done from the very beginning. If in the very beginning of the fight, you get burnt out where 50+% of your player base no longer has any troops, you're at a serious disadvantage, right? The rest of the other team is going to have the opportunity to set up, reinforce, and you're going to have to come back from a huge deficit to begin with. So the recommendation for you guys, if you're trying to form a comeback, is that you go building by building in a group and you quickly hit that to loot all the points as best as possible. If you've got threat from one or multiple whales, make sure that the folks that are leaving that safe zone are fully garrisoned, fully reinforced, so that way they have the best chance of survivability. And it also makes the whales kind of second guess just single solo attacks and force them to do rallies. 1 minute rallies, I think it's the least amount of time that you can spend on it, and slows up the play considerably. That's it for today, guys. 14.5 million points in a single Foundry. We demolished the other team through basic strategy, blocking and tackling, role assignment, and obviously having some fun burning the other team. I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Catch you on the next one.